What's up, everyone? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. My friend, uh, we're done with football.
Yeah, we're done with a lot of things. So we're done with football, but now we're officially in. You could start a relationship because it's after the 4th of July, or it's after the February 14th, and now
Yes.
you have all the way up till Labor Day to get into a relationship,
No,
or is it
all the way up
Halloween
until Thanksgiving.
or Thanksgiving? It's either Halloween or it's something
I
like that.
forget.
Where
I've been in a committed relationship for 3 years now, so
yeah,
but I believe it's. I think you're right. Maybe it is Halloween.
yeah,
But
because
for those,
then yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
for those that don't know what we're talking about, there is an old philosophy that I had in my younger days, my much younger days, my single days, where I would not actively date anyone between Halloween and Valentine's Day because it was a trap. If I wasn't in a relationship, I would not start one in that time frame.
And it served you well for a good portion of your life. It served you very well.
Yes, yes. And coincidentally, once Janice and I started dating, it was the summer time, so everything worked out perfectly. So I
Yeah,
have,
you didn't have to. Yeah, you had 8 months before you had to celebrate Valentine's Day, dude.
yeah, exactly. It was perfect. It worked out great.
But now that you're in a committed relationship, it doesn't matter. You can start anytime you want, man.
Exactly. Every day is Valentine's Day, and
Every day is Valentine's Day, Christmas, and Thanksgiving all rolled into one.
yeah,
Some
exactly.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, Super Bowl. So we're recapping that. I, a lot's going on. There's a lot going on. I just, it's bittersweet. It was a very busy week for you guys living down in the valley between the Waste Management Open, between
The Super Bowl.
everything else going on, Super Bowl itself.
Yep.
It was. I had no dog in the fight in that game, but I will tell you, it was a hell of a game for 57 minutes, 57 football minutes.
Oh, 57 football minutes. It was a hell of a game, and then there's 3 minutes where you said, "Screw it."
Um, I'll be honest. I have a hard time. I've been watching the debates on the Twitter and
Oh,
all the news sources about should you make that, should you call that penalty, that stage of the game, um, should you not, should you, the pros and the cons for it. And I have to admit, man, I don't think you call that penalty at that stage of the game.
yeah. I've always had a problem. I have always had a problem with that penalty when the ball's not even thrown to that person.
Yeah.
I always have a problem with that. If the ball's thrown to the left and the penalty happens to the right, that you shouldn't call that penalty. I'm
No,
sorry. That's the holding.
but they did throw the ball that direction, but he wouldn't have caught that anyway.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember the play. I didn't even think the ball was going to him.
No,
It went in a totally different to a totally different player.
no,
So
the ball went about almost 3/4 through the end zone. So it feels like it would have been high if you would have got it, but I don't think that little tug would have stopped him or allowed him to or stopped him from getting to the ball.
yeah. Okay. I was thinking of the earlier play where it was like a third down and it was the guy went over the middle and
Yeah,
the ball went to the left and that was the penalty I'm referring to. They shouldn't have called that one either
yeah,
because that ball wasn't even going to him. So why would you call a penalty when it's not even going to that person?
a lot of times in playoff settings, you'll hear commentators talk about how the referees tend to swallow whistles and they tend
Yeah.
to let the players play. And I appreciate that they do because it gets more physical in the NBA Finals because the players should play more. You shouldn't let the referees decide games. You should not let the officiating decide big time moments in games. And it feels like these last couple games of the NFL playoffs, the referees were much more front and center than they should have been, or than they
Yep.
should be. They're invisible to the game, and if you're going to make that call, which you can argue there's holding in every call and every play in the NFL. You can argue in some way, shape, or form there's holding somewhere. But if you're not making that same call in the first, second, and third quarter, which they weren't, I don't think you make that call when it's a tie ball game or a tight ball game with 3 minutes to go in the game, because that cost Philadelphia any chance. I'm not saying they would have won, but it cost us the chance to see what they could do with one or two timeouts and a little over 2 minutes to go.
Yep. I agree with that. I do agree with that. And that seems to happen quite a bit. But I'm like you. I didn't have any dogs in either of the races, so I didn't really care one way or the other. It was a good football game, so I can enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, for me, the Super Bowl is more than just the game. It's the food, it's the people, it's the commercials, it's a lot of things, and it's a great day of just friendship and celebration as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Because where we're at, you normally go to Vegas for it and hang out in a big public thing. I have people over, and it's just a great tradition, and it's almost, to me, it's like the signaling that spring is on the way. Because a few days later, pitchers and catchers for baseball report.
Yep.
So that means we're weeks away from sitting on the grass watching people compete for jobs in the major leagues. It's just it's a great time of year, but it's also bittersweet because we spend a lot of time, watching football, listening about football. It's America's pastime. It's past baseball. It's the most popular sport in America.
Now that I'm trying to remember, I remember what my picks were for the championship game. I was nowhere close to having the two at the beginning of the year. How close were you at the beginning of the year for your picks?
I believe I had Cincinnati in either the Rams or possibly the Niners.
Okay.
I don't think I had Philly anywhere on my radar.
I didn't have. I had Buffalo Rams is who I had, and I wasn't anywhere close.
Yeah, but
I wasn't anywhere close.
But that's why you make the picks in August and September, because you don't know what can happen in a season, and it's fun to see how close you actually get. And I don't think anybody outside of Philadelphia or Kansas City would have ever have considered that Super Bowl possibility. Now, I will say everything that transpired online after the game and all the trash talking and everyone saying that you always make that call for the holding, they were definitely Chiefs fans or Cowboy fans that are making the argument why you always make that call. But had the shoe been on the other foot and the Eagles been held by the Chiefs, they'd be in the opposite boat. Makes sense?
And I want to throw this out there. This is a side note, it has nothing to do with the Super Bowl. But are we looking pretty bad that Kyler Murray is not as good as Jalen Hurts? I mean, it's pretty sick how badass Jalen Hurts is. I mean, that guy was amazing and literally held that team on his shoulders the entire game.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's after year two.
No, year 3.
No, that's his second year.
It's the third year.
Okay, well,
second year's a starter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, perfect. Yeah, exactly. Second year as a starter, and he's won more playoff games this year than Kyler Murray's even been in.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad to me that I think we made a mistake.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is a little bit different in that case. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the videos. The man back squats 600 pounds, and to have that kind of core strength and leg strength, that's why they line up on those short distance downs and just let him run it over the line every chance, because the guy's a beast.
Yeah,
he comes from a coaching family. He's a beast. He went through it all in Alabama, then transferred to Oklahoma. I agree. I don't know. I'm not going to say we missed on Kyler yet. I think we'll see how he does after this new coaching change, but he is definitely not on the level where he should be at this point in the career. Not saying he can't get there, but we are not there yet.
I've got to think if he doesn't do something pretty magical this year, he's a bust.
Yeah, he might have a year. It depends when he comes back this coming year with the ACL injury and how well he comes back, and probably a full year after that. But you're right, he's within 2 years of being a bust.
Yeah, and a very high paid bust. But that's neither here nor there.
I will point out though, we were recording this on a Wednesday. Normally we record on a Monday. Before we get to our topic, the Cardinals did post some pictures of him doing rehab in Phoenix, or the Tempe, in the team facility. And I will openly and fully admit, being 6 weeks post ACL surgery, I would not be able to do the things that man was doing and looking natural at it. Riding assault bikes, balancing on it, just strength training with it. It's pretty impressive to be that level.
Now, is the video doctored or is it real?
It's real.
Okay, because you know how they can doctor anything now on video.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I don't think you could doctor what he was doing with that.
Okay,
So,
all right. Well, let's
so
hope for the best then. Let's
yeah,
hope for the best.
so we'll see. You hope for the best, you plan for the worst.
That's right. That's right.
Any rate, so like we mentioned, you were at a viewing party in Las Vegas. Did you get a chance to watch any of the commercials in at this event?
I'd like to say yes. However, because of the alcohol that was being consumed toward the end of the game, I don't remember many of the commercials as I did maybe from the beginning of the game.
Ah, I got you. Well, as it were, there was one particular commercial that caught my attention that made me go and do some research.
Oh, okay.
Dave Grohl, a famous musician, drummer of Nirvana, lead singer of Foo Fighters, one of the greatest musicians of our time.
Okay.
He's a pit master as a hobbyist, so to be a pit master in barbecue as a hobby is still pretty impressive to get to that skill level. But he was pitching for Crown Royal, all the things that we do in America that were started by Canadians.
Oh, I do remember that commercial. Very funny commercial, actually.
Yes, and I got to talking to the EP about it, and he flat out told me if Dave Grohl said it, it's law because Dave don't lie.
Dave wouldn't lie.
So I agree because I am a fan of Dave Grohl. Nonetheless, though, that did not stop me from going and doing my homework.
Oh, okay, okay.
They pointed out that basketball was started by a Canadian, James Naismith.
Oh, I didn't know he was Canadian. Okay.
He was Canadian American. I did not know that.
I did not know that.
He was a physical ed teacher in either Connecticut or Pennsylvania, but that's where the game of basketball started, but he was Canadian American.
Okay.
And then they said football was also started by a Canadian. And that didn't sit right with me. That did not feel authentic.
Okay.
So I went to the interwebs and I began researching.
Oh boy.
From what I can understand, the person who's given credit for starting American football, adapting rugby from Europe, was Walter Camp.
Okay.
In Yale.
Okay.
So, being the father of modern football, American football, he was born in Connecticut and went to school in Yale and started American football there. No Canadian roots whatsoever.
Okay.
I could find no mention of Canadian roots in football.
Okay.
So that leads me to believe, I know you can't believe everything you see or hear in the media, but how much do you believe when you see commercials?
Well, yeah, I find that that the legitimacy of commercials and TV in general is kind of suspect in today's world.
Yeah.
Because I think that the reason why I find it suspect is that so much of the validity of something is a twist or like they'll take one little truth and make it more than what it is, or or they'll say one little statement that was said by someone long time ago and then turn that into that was their philosophy when it may not have been their philosophy at all.
Yeah.
So I find that I take commercials and social media for what it is. It's an entertainment piece, and so I'm fully understanding that I have to do my due diligence, and that would be the same with commercials as well.
So, has there ever been a product that you have seen a commercial for? And as a kid, I'm sure you fell for the same thing too, where advertising toys or maybe a soft drink or a snack that you just had to try, and then when you got there, it's like this was not what it should be. I do not like this at all.
Oh, Jolt Cola for me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Jolt Cola was like the product that, oh, it's got all the taste and double the caffeine or something like that of soda. And I remember my friends and I thought, oh man, we're gonna try a Jolt Cola. We're gonna try a Jolt Cola, and we had a Jolt Cola, and my God, it was the worst tasting thing ever. It did have all the caffeine, but it had no flavor. It was awful. It was totally disgusting.
I remember Jolt. For me, Bugles.
Oh, okay. Those are a snack, but they were never as good as what the commercial said.
No, I feel
Never
like
as good as what the commercial said.
I feel like they were a terrible corn chip thing, not a cracker, not a chip. I don't know. I can't quite explain what they were, and they're still around, which blows my mind. But they're not
Yeah, I
everywhere
mean,
like they used to be.
they're salty. They're
Yeah,
salty, you know,
they're
but they're
salty.
nothing.
But
Right.
if I'm gonna eat those, I think I'd rather eat chips. Like everyone looked like they're having a good time using them as fingernails and all these other things and playing like their instruments. But it was not good.
Oh, you know another one I hated in the mid '90s. Taco Bell had tried to come out with a healthy menu.
Oh yeah,
Like you could get the healthy tacos, healthy taco meat,
yeah.
and
McDonald's did
our
that too. Yeah.
and they tried to sell it like it was going to be. It tastes exactly like the real deal, and that was disgusting too. Like, no, that does not taste like the taco meat that comes from Taco Bell. I'm sorry, you can't. You're hurting me. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
So okay, so we just asked what was something that disappointed. What was something that exceeded your expectations?
Oh, oh boy. I think that any of the commercials that um, they have for cruise lines, I always have a much better time than even what they show on the cruise lines. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but like I've seen cruises to the Caribbean,
Yeah.
right? Or cruises to Mexico or cruises anywhere. And I always seem to have a much better time when I go on the cruise than they even try to sell. They like the representation of the cruise, and as much as I enjoy the party, I always seem to have a really good time when I go on a cruise. I found that with the Alaskan cruise too, like the Alaskan cruise commercial and Alaskan cruise itself are at least equal, but I even find better than the pictures could even show.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you got? Where you said,
Uh,
"Oh, the commercial doesn't do it justice."
Crystal Pepsi.
Crystal Pepsi.
It was
What?
the mid-90s flash in the pan thing. It was clear cola, and
Oh,
it only lasted a few months.
okay.
Van Halen, they used the song "Right Now" as the song in the
Oh,
commercial.
yeah, 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 yeah. I do
It,
remember that.
I want to say it
Okay.
was like the summer of like 91 or 92. And I remember we tried it, and to me it was great. It tasted really good. It was such a big phenomenon. SNL made fun of it too with Crystal Gravy that fall in one of their spoof commercials.
Okay.
So
Okay.
to me, it didn't last. Which they tried to bring it back a couple years ago, as a like a throwback. But I for me it was Crystal Pepsi, and the other one was the double decker taco from Taco Bell.
Oh, that was good. That was a good taco. Yeah.
And
And they can never do it justice in the commercial, but they sold it good. Yeah, because those were really good.
I was so bummed when they took them off the menu because it used to be I would go get those all the time. And I guess every year Taco Bell has polls now online that you can vote to bring back a retired food,
Oh, okay.
and it came in second this year to the enchilada, with their version of the enchilada.
I was gonna say, wow, yeah, I didn't eat those,
Yeah,
but
well,
okay.
again, Taco Bell is one of those phenomena where they have made billions and billions of dollars off of six basic ingredients and different combinations.
What do you think you're in marketing? So what is the purpose of a good commercial? Like, what should a good commercial do? I mean, obviously, don't just say, well, it should incite you to do, you know, to buy the product. But what should a good commercial do that you learned about or you discovered in your career?
Well, I'm not in marketing anymore, but through my experiences in that, good commercials, they stir emotions. They capture a feeling inside you that you might have forgotten about, or that you have, and it gravitate makes you gravitate toward that product or that you know that destination.
Okay. So it's like a sacred trust is built in
Yeah,
the 30 seconds to
you have. Yeah, exactly, and it's harder now with the way that we consume our media, between social media, the DVRs, or people streaming online for their TV. You don't get the commercials like you used to, so you have to be more creative with how you hook somebody in. And Las Vegas does a good job of that. If you ever watch the Visit Vegas, or what stays happens in Vegas stays in Vegas commercials,
yeah.
they do a good job of advertising outside of their market. Like, hey man, you need to come here because you can have all the food, have all the fun with your family, without your family. It doesn't matter. We have it all. It's basically adult Disneyland. And I think they do a good job of capturing that. And for some people, it stirs their emotion. Like, man, I gotta go. Now you go
Well,
to your mom lives in Vegas. You go all the
right.
time. I go all the time. If I never had to go back to Vegas, it wouldn't bother me. But to someone in Maine in February under 3 feet of snow, when they see you outside, the Circa at a Super Bowl party, laughing it up, wearing short sleeves in February, that should be for them to say, you know what? I need to go see that. I should go do that.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I did find interesting about Las Vegas is, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas was the line,
Yeah.
and just that single line encapsulated a whole emotion, a movement about Las Vegas. And after a while, though, they had to change the line because they found that, oh, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So a lot more drugs were coming into Vegas and a lot more bad activities and
Yeah.
were coming into Vegas. So now they have it. What happens in Vegas only happens in Vegas.
Yeah.
So they had to change it a little bit because the emotion had changed, right? The connection to the city had changed from what it was before. Because I mean, you talk about a great line, right? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's a perfect line.
Oh, it is, because that's a slogan that becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's like a lifestyle. It's like you can get away with anything with us. You
Yeah.
come to Vegas, it never has to no one ever has to find out in your wherever you are, wherever your other life is, come to Vegas and be someone totally different.
That
And
is, to me, that's on the same lines of like Disneyland, the happiest place on earth.
yeah.
I have a Coke and a smile.
Hmm.
It's things that are synonymous with each other. And people find the truth in that advertising just as much as they find the falseness in it too.
Yeah. Now, the ones that I don't understand, and maybe you can help me understand, is cologne and perfume commercials.
I have no idea.
Like, why do they do those? Why do they do them those that way? Like, it's always, you know, oh, elegance, style, perfume, and it goes into this big long thing, and it's like the commercials don't make sense. Like, did you see the one with Johnny Depp where he's playing the guitar and he's running with a wolf?
Yeah, for
It's
Savage.
like
Yeah.
Savage, yeah, and it's like what is that supposed to what emotion is that bringing to me?
It doesn't. Well, first off, I wear Savage. Second, I didn't buy it
Oh, so
because
you bought it because of the commercial.
I didn't buy it because of the commercial. I
Oh,
bought it because I was
okay.
at Dillard's. Like, damn, that smells good. I'll take that.
Okay.
But Johnny Depp had nothing to do with it. But you talk about cologne commercials. I always go back to that scene in Zoolander, where what's Derek Zoolander saying? Water is the essence of wetness.
Yeah, water's the essence of wetness.
I
That's right.
mean, that's what those commercials remind me of. Like, this is the dumbest thing on earth. Nothing is going to invoke a grown ass man to go out and buy this cologne, if it's Johnny Depp being chased by a wolf playing guitar. Like, I don't get that. But if it's a beautiful woman saying, "Damn, that cologne smells good," that's more apt to get a man's attention, saying, "I think I need to try that."
Well, yeah, and if you see whoever the man is getting, surrounded by women or men or
Yeah,
whatever, then it's like, oh, okay, I want that. I want that.
yeah.
Um,
You know, and that's I think that's what gravitates, but people toward those products, and it makes it memorable, because if you have a celebrity spokesperson, you're going to get a small percentage of people that go out and buy that cologne because if it's good enough for Johnny Depp, it's good enough for us. But maybe that's the only demographic you really need to make this a successful line.
yeah, I remember, not selling a product, but you remember uh, this is drugs, this is your brain, and this is your brain
Yeah.
on drugs. Remember the fried egg?
Yeah.
Any questions? Like simplistic, tell a story in the fewest amount of words. It's pretty fascinating that there are people who that's what their job is, right? That's the
Yeah.
slogan, to
Yeah.
come up with whatever the slogan is in 5 words or less that's going to invoke the emotion that is going to make them buy the product or motivate them to do um, what they want to sell.
Because wasn't that the follow up to Dare to keep kids off drugs?
Something like that. Yeah, it was back in the 80s. And
Yeah.
it was around the same time where, just say no. And so that was the commercial. And I remember when I was a kid, this is drugs. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions? That was it. And
Yeah.
and the message spoke, the message said all it is. Do you remember the magazine ads where it was basically a famous actor or sports person with the white mustache
For
got
milk.
milk?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah.
And yet everyone knew, oh my gosh, everyone that brought back childhood memories, or that brought back some fun emotion, like you said, that brought back memories of, oh, I got to drink milk again. I've stopped drinking milk. Let's drink milk again.
Yeah. It's crazy because what they did back, in the 80s and 90s that now it's things we grew up with in my generation, your generation. Some of those have become ironic jokes in our advertising, in our marketing, throwbacks, just T-shirts we wear. It's funny how those things still evoke emotions 30 years later. And I think to me that's a sign of a good advertising campaign.
I got to be honest, there's some products. Can you think of products that don't even need, at this point in our history, they don't even need advertising anymore?
I would say the iPhones, the cell phones. You probably
Yeah.
don't those. You don't really see a lot of commercials for iPhones because you don't need to advertise it.
When was the last time you saw Coke advertised?
Yeah, well, you see Coke, exactly. Diet Coke is the biggest selling soft drink in the world. You could probably argue McDonald's doesn't have to advertise anymore.
Yeah, right. And they have, and it's not even that they don't have competition. I mean, they have
Yeah,
tons of competition out there, but you don't
it
see
doesn't.
advertising for some products. It's just like,
It
that's
doesn't
just
matter.
it.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I think there's a few products out there, and with their branding being so strong, it doesn't matter how much truth they have in what they're trying to say. There's no way in hell I'll ever go to McDonald's if I have to. Like if I'm going if I'm buying food from McDonald's, I'm probably trying to tell somebody I was taken hostage.
Oh, you're not a McDonald's fan. What's your burger restaurant then?
If I, it's funny. I don't know if I was talking about this with you or somebody else, but like how they say your tastes change every 7 years.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of proximity now, but I used to not like In-N-Out Burger at all. I used to think they were the most overrated burger.
Oh, okay.
But recently, like I've gone twice in the last couple of months. Like, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But if I have to go get an actual like hamburger, like from a fast food place,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to Wendy's or Jack in the Box.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So that was funny too. So at Jack in the Box they sell tacos, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd
Every
never had their
person knows Jack in the Box.
okay. I had never had their tacos before. So one night, Noreen and I are going to Jack in the Box, and I don't know, Sam or someone wanted 20 tacos or whatever. You could buy two for $1 or something like that. And I said, "What is up with these tacos?" And we go up to the drive-through, and they look at the little picture on the drive-through window where you place your order. And I said, "Are those the tacos?" Or how did it come out? But she said basically, "These are the tacos." I said, "Are those the tacos?" Yeah, they taste amazing. They don't look anything like that, but they're amazing because the advertising had like the lettuce looked all green and it just looked amazing. And
those tortillas are translucent.
Yeah, they didn't look anything like that. And so
that's not shredded cheese, that's sliced cheese.
Yeah, that's a frozen concoction that gets fried for your taste buds.
Oh, absolutely. But I will guarantee you, anyone that has ever gone through the Jack in the Box drive-thru at 2 a.m, leaving the bar, has had those tacos, and those tacos hit the spot and prevented the hangover from being any worse than they should have been.
Yeah, and there are probably a lot of items that I realize that advertising and the true life are not gonna. I mean, they're not the same, but I don't care. I'm gonna enjoy that because, like McDonald's for me. I know those burgers don't look as good as they do on TV.
Yeah.
I don't care. I enjoy them, so I'm willing to overlook that the truth in the advertising because whether it's the motion of it, whether it's the flavor, whether it's that's just where I used to always go when I was a kid. I mean, whatever the emotion that connected it, I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a good place to really wrap up today's conversation because we're starting to run out of time. But if you have any experiences where the truth in advertising didn't meet your expectations, did you buy a product because you just had to buy it from what the TV told you, the radio told you? We want to hear about it. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If there's some products in the Colorado, Denver metropolitan area that our EP should try, hit him up at liquid_EP on Twitter and the Instagram.
I think that we can wrap it up too by saying any of us that think that we are not easily coerced to doing things that we normally or may not do normally, advertising is the perfect example of how even an independent mind like ours can be maneuvered, persuaded to do things that we may not do normally, but if it wasn't for the commercial.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's an art form in the sense of the power that it has to make us do things that maybe we wouldn't normally do without that advertising.
That is fair. That is fair. That being said, Jason, take us home.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. We love you. Appreciate you. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Carnage.